Hbarbarians, what's up? Thank you for passing by. My name is Phil. I am from Mints and Drops, and today on this, let's say, a Christmas special edition podcast, we're having an the OG selection out of Laurie, Belgium, Hbarbarian, and no other than the Hbar Gremlin. We've tackled many subjects: FUD, floor price, specifics night to other NFT projects that they like. It was amazing, truly. Like, those are my friends. Of course, they're my bros, they're my sis. I truly enjoy and value 100%, their opinion. We had a blast. Enjoy. Thank you so much for taking the time to pass by on the show. Today is a very special edition on the podcast. Thank you so much for being there. Laurie, what is up?
Hey,
Gremlin,
Phil.
what is up? Jonas, wow, Belgium, what is up? With the full
Phil,
docs,
my
man. That's really amazing. Truly, I'm blessed, to have you out here, the three of you, we're just gonna talk about stuff since you guys been here since the very beginning, and I truly value everything you have to say every single time out on socials. And I just thought it'd be great, just to have you guys' opinion on the current market, what's happening, especially that right now it's kind of a stalemate and whatnot. But again, thank you so much just for taking the time to be here. I truly appreciate it. So yeah, how you doing? How's life? How's everything? We can start with Laurie or even Jonas.
Yeah, ladies first, of course. If we are gentlemen, so yeah.
That's true. That's very true. Laurie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really great. Really happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. And what about you, Jonas? What's up, man? I mean, seeing your face, man, it's it's really great. It looks like we've known each other for 10 years, man.
Yeah, exactly, Phil. No, thanks for having me as well. So it's I'm really honored to be here with the two other OGs in the Hedera NFT space, especially. So no, I'm doing very good. Life in Belgium is good, but yeah, the weather is getting colder now. So but for the rest, yeah, everything is okay, man. I'm really looking forward to 2023 as well. So the year is almost done, and yeah, full of energy, my friend.
Nice. And what about you, Graham? What's up, my guy?
I'm living the dream. It's an honor to be here with some legends, and I'm looking forward to the conversation today. We'll see how it goes. We all know the market's moving a little slow right now, so I hope we have some fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure we will. I mean, let's just kick it off with something really simple, but yet again, what projects are you guys going about, these days? Of course, the market is, absolutely in a stalemate. There's it's boring on the surface, but underneath, of course. What projects are you guys into as of right now?
I'm in several, as I'm sure the other two are as well. I'm in Barboons and Creamies and Sentiment and Hash Hairs and Hashmons, Serpents, Roosters. Those are just a few off the top of my head, and I love every single one of them.
They are absolutely elite projects, of course. I'm them also too, and they've been major movers, of course, throughout the last year. They've been absolutely crazy. Shout out to Ashmans who dropped last week. What about you, Jonas? What project you in these days?
Yeah, I'm in a lot of projects since we have been here in the space since over a year now. So I've looked on my Discord, and I've joined I think in October the most projects. So like it's a hell of a time. And but I'm especially in the big projects, the famous ones with a good community, and especially with a good team. That's for me very important. Those guys that have been around over 1 year, and then obviously you have to look at Hgraph Stonks, you have to look at Hbar Shadies, those fugitives. I can name a few, but there are a few OG projects who are still around, who are very active, and really I support them 100%. But there are also, this year a lot of projects came out, like we have a really good one. Now you can see like Gangster Paradise is making moves on the youth market. There are a lot of good projects on Hedera, and I feel like a lot of more people are coming now. So I try to support as many projects as I can. But obviously you have to make some choices at a certain moment regarding the budget. But sure. There's a lot of really good and awesome projects on Hedera. And okay, we saw a few rocks, but not a lot, to be honest, if you compare to other chains. So let's see what brings.
Yeah, shout out to Gangsters. They've been moving amazingly through Zeus. The last 10 days, it's been absolutely crazy. The floor price went for 1.2 to even right now, I believe it's 2.2 right now as of today. So they've been moving major bars to this market. I mean, big shout out to them. I mean, it's a great feat. What about you, Graham? What's the project you're into right now? I know you ventured into ETH right now, and we're not forced to stay on Hedera ecosystem if you want to talk about something else, but
no, we could stay on Hedera. I mean, the majority of my ETH plays, as you've seen, have been art, purely art. I have a Dead Fellows and I have a couple other PFP projects, but just for the sake of investment here, ETH is certainly not my home. So as it relates to Hedera, I've been generally consolidating, right? I mean, those who have been in the Hedera NFT space probably understand that I've gone through the ringer here, right? I was out there funding every project, basically just investing in everything at the beginning, in the infancy, when we could just barely, we were happy to have Exact Wallet. We were excited to be able to see NFTs, and we were excited that projects were even interested in building in the first place. So I've definitely taken my fair share of losses along the way. Unfortunately, it was a good ride. It was a lot of fun. So I'm hyper focused at this point on a couple of projects. I still have a lot of NFTs from most projects, but I've consolidated a lot of my HBAR into HCraft Punks. I still have my Lazy Superheroes. Still have a couple koalas, have a few Vasizis and the CD and the V1 and the V2, and have a lot of fun in that Discord. And as most people know at this point, I've lost access to my original Discord because I didn't think the HBAR Gremlin would be anything important, right? Like it's not, maybe not important. Important's probably not the right word, but I didn't think it would catch on, I guess. So when I made it, I didn't even, honestly, I had dual factor authentication because Punks needed it in order to be an admin in their server and do anything. So I turned that on. I got a new phone. I got locked out of Discord, and I couldn't get back in. So RIP to my first Discord. It is what it is, unfortunately. But now I'm the HBAR Gremlin, so I had to make another one, and here we are. I'm only in 3 servers, which is probably a good thing. I feel bad, right? My intention wasn't to leave every server, but it was kind of a forced exit, and I'm slowly making my way back into servers. So anybody listening to this, if you send me a DM to my old Discord account, I didn't respond, please don't be offended. I just straight up didn't see it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the story.
It's a great one. And we've all felt the especially around the month of May, and you guys been around for even before me, and you felt it for sure. Around the month of May, right before this wave we've had through the summer, there was so many projects out there that at one point, there was no way at all that you could take the time every single morning if you're like me and you're really annoying AF and you just go through the entire server selection to go and say great morning to everyone, genuinely speaking. There was no way you could do that anymore. So that was putting ourselves in front of a choice where I only have 24 hours in the day, of course, like everyone else. And if you're lucky, you can pass 2, 3, 4, 6 hours per day maximum out there just having fun and blast. So we had to make choices or else you would have like 100 servers down the Discord. And with those choices was bringing out, of course, FUD. That's the next subject I want to tackle on, because fear, uncertainty, doubt, of course, is a natural thing, I believe, in our ecosystem. And it needs to be propelled in a way that you see who's solid and who's not. How do you see it being unveiled inside Hedera? How do you see it going around? Do you see it naturally coming in? especially since the last summer? How do you perceive it all?
I feel like there's been quite a bit of FUD in the space lately, but I know it's going to happen. I mean, like you said, it's definitely going to happen. You can't please everybody. But personally, I don't like when people spread FUD when it's unwarranted. And sometimes
Yeah,
it's warranted, but other times it's not. So, and sometimes it's hard to decipher.
I agree. 100%. What do you think,
Yeah.
Jonas?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Laurie as well because yeah, but there will always be FUD. If you're at any blockchain or any hash graph or whatever, everywhere FUD will be also everywhere. So you just have to deal with it. So you have two options, or you just ignore it, or you go against the FUDder. And yeah, for me personally, I always think FUD has something to do with some personal losses of that particular person. So yeah, I'm always try to watch two sides of the story as well. But yeah, if a project doesn't deliver and only is thinking about minting, yeah, okay, then that's another story. But yeah, you have to be careful with FUD, and especially on Hedera, we are such a nice community. In the beginning, there was totally no FUD at all, to be honest. But
Yeah.
yeah, the more the chain grows, the more the community grows. Yeah, there will be more FUD coming our way. So, but I think you just need to listen to two stories and then
Yeah.
yeah, decide your own what you are thinking about the project. So that won't change anything in general, in my opinion. So, but there will always be FUD. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
something for the mods, and I know Laurie is a mod in several projects as well. So she has to deal with the FUD.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, especially right now, right? Since it's kind of like we said early on, it's kind of a stalemate. So right now, we truly see who's solid in a way that we've had a couple of rugs, especially like the month of September. I don't know if you remember, we had like 3 or 4 rugs back to back,
Yeah.
because people are finding it harder since there's so many more options out there for you to spend your bars on. That people start fudding because okay, there's I think there's still a huge difference, at least for me, between like funding a project and asking the proper questions. And I gotta give a huge shout out to Graham, who went on the crazy and absolutely necessary, adventure, at the month of September again, asking the proper questions again, because those questions needs to be asked sometimes. And down the road, if you do not ask them, you're not doing a service to the project, to yourself, and to the community, in my opinion.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, look, my perspective on FUD generally. FUD to FUD is a complete waste of everyone's time, but FUD is also a useful tool from an outsider's perspective to see how a project responds to it, right? Some projects can ignore it. Sometimes the FUD gets a little too loud to ignore, right? And at which point, in my opinion, a project needs to respond. But how they respond is crucial to longevity of the project, in my opinion, right? You see how poised a founding team is, how capable they are of communicating effectively, how they're able to work through any given FUD piece to get to a point where they can convince everyone reading that they're around, they know what they're doing, they understand the concerns, and the reality is, well, you can be concerned about it, you can FUD, but this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it. So I think it's a useful tool for those who are willing to take the time to kind of dig in and observe the FUD itself and what's going on, and there information asymmetries all over the place, right? Not everybody knows everything. It's
Yeah.
impossible. A lot of quote alpha is disclosed in Discord servers, right? If you're not in all the Discord servers, you have no idea what's going on. So, you see something you're unsure of. A lot of people take the easy route, which is just, okay, I'm going to go on Twitter and blast this particular project because I don't know,
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
asking questions, they just go out and FUD and hope they get a response. I don't know. I think it's a necessary part of the ecosystem. It really depends on how you digest the FUD, so to speak, right? How you
Yeah.
consume the information and use it to your advantage, hopefully. And if you're going about fudding, I mean, that's your choice. I've certainly engaged in my fair share of Twitter battles, whether fortunately or unfortunately. Certainly, rose. My blood pressure got up there a few times. But the
You chill
reality is,
down.
I mean,
You chill down since a month or so, and that's
yeah,
fine.
I've just been buying art. It's a lot easier. You don't need to foot art.
Yeah,
It's art, right?
yeah.
You like it, you don't. It's subjective. It is what it is. You don't expect anything from these artists other than art, and it's really a wonderful thing. So I'm hopeful that we can get some artists over to Hedera and start bringing that art culture and just pure art to Hedera as
Hmm.
well. I know there are some artists, which is great, but I think more would be wonderful. But yeah, it's a lot easier to just observe than to kind of be combative. I mean, if there's anything that I see, obviously I feel an obligation or have an obligation, as far as I'm concerned, to the community to call it out. I'm not always right, but if I feel something that or see something that is questionable, I'm happy to call it out and type my words into Twitter and see where it goes. It's I wish there was an easier way to do it. I prefer not to just put a project on blast, but if you're clearly a rug, as far as I'm concerned, then I'm sure other people have a similar feeling and nobody's going to say it.
Hmm.
And I've kind of built the platform to do it. Um, at this point, I feel as though I have an obligation to continue doing it, whether that's good or
Okay.
bad. I don't know.
Keep on, because a great example. I did not find the proper angle yet for me on my page or Twitter, whatever, to really go at it, because it can get really emotional in a way, and it shouldn't. But at the same time, you have to ask the proper questions, because when you see it, and we're passing enough time, right, in this ecosystem to properly know who's who, right? And again, it
Absolutely.
doesn't make us right, every single time, but we know if you're effing around, we know. We just how many Twitter posts we've seen, project, that's just copying the art, or just we never hear about them for 2 months, 3 months, and the chat is dead. At one point, of course, we got to ask the right questions, but for me, I still got to find the right angle. So yeah, I'm absolutely looking at what you do, and how to tackle it, even though it doesn't make us right. I think it's a process.
Yeah, I mean, look, my generally speaking, I just try and be respectful, even because there's a chance that it's not a rug. It's just you're doing something that looks suspicious, so I'm going to ask. You know what I mean? And you may have an answer, and your roadmap may be 5 bullet points long, and that's it. And if people are willing to pay the price for that particular project with a 5 bullet point roadmap that's achievable in 3 days, thinking that there's more, well, the reality is, well, if the roadmap's 5 bullet points and they completed the 5 bullet points, that's what you bought into, right? The expectation is where people get caught up, right? We expect more, but the reality is, I mean, they'll most projects will put out their roadmap, and if there's no to be continued, then just err on the side of caution, basically,
Mm-hmm.
because there are rugs, right, and then there are projects that are very brief by design, which are essentially rugs, but don't get caught up in, oh well, this art is great, so I'm going to buy it and I'm going to press the founders to keep going. If their roadmap is short by design, then maybe they only plan to be here for the roadmap and then they're done. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And often people just, yeah, it's just that most of the time people just go around and read the white paper and just expects amazing results, right? And that's the thing, especially when you don't go fully out into the amazing experience that you can have and dive deep into a project. And that leads me to another topic I want to talk about is floor price and selling out, because I think the two are really tight, or at least it's two elements that I believe that are really intertwined and linked, because often, of course, when the floor price sky bottoms, and when we're seeing for major projects right now, especially out on Zeus or secondary, people tend to fear, and being uncertain. And the same thing for selling out, right? Because if a mint happens, you go full blast on socials, you tell all your friends, all your community, you tag everyone, and it doesn't sell out, and it happens. Even though a project, can be amazing, the roadmap is absolutely awesome, and floor price plummets. So how do you go by those two variables, selling out and floor price in your journey?
I think there's importance in selling out. Even though a project may not sell out in minutes, it doesn't mean that it's not a great project. I do feel like a project will sell out a lot quicker if it has a good, strong community behind it. The community, I think, is a really important aspect in that. In terms of the floor price, in my opinion, I feel like if the floor price is like 1.5 times the original mint price, like within a couple, 3 weeks, that it might give it a little bit of stability. Once it's stabilized, and if the project is still growing and building, I feel like it has a lot of future potential.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. It can be a tough spot for sure.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. Especially, you know, when the supply is kind of big, it can be a tough spot because right now, you know, and we've said it many times, where we want a bigger pie. We don't necessarily want, you know, having a bigger piece of the pie, where we just want more liquidity in for people to grow. So you have a much more diversification of people making projects, but also going to and investing in those. So it can be a tough spot. And to me, in my opinion, it all goes to what's in the long run. And I've said it also a couple of times, where I think we need to categorize the projects, where floor price shouldn't matter for some projects. Because if the game is midterm or long term, even like, I don't know, say you have metaverse, you know, of course, and stuff, and you're planning on to doing like Creamlands or whatever, you know, you have stuff that's so huge and you have so many layers. Now, right now, who cares about price? Because you know that down the road, well, they have something planned out, you know, it's rock solid, you know what's going on, they're transparent about it, they're really communicative. So to me, it's a lot of variables in play. In my opinion, for many projects, I do not care about those two, but for some, it can be important.
Mm-hmm.
And leading on to that, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, no, for me, like there's two sort of, to me, it's a little bit double, you know, like the floor price is below mint or not. For some projects, some low projects, OG projects, it is the reality. Like, for example, I see Shady Gen 2 trading a lot under, even under the mint price. But if you know what person is behind the project and what he's building and what he's doing for the long run, and he never promised also like real utility and so on. So that reflects a little bit to me the floor price on the short term. But I'm really confident that project will do good in the long run. So yeah, it's a little bit double, because if a project does not well, yeah, the floor price will reflect it as well. So I think it's important to do some good research, do your own research, and to projects, and really get to know the guy behind it. And yeah, then you have two choices, or you mint and you sell under the mint price because you have no patience, then it's up to you to take that loss. But yeah, so to me it's double. I would not say that if a project is trading under mint price that it's a bad one. So yeah,
it's absolutely a variable for sure. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's a variable for sure. And again, you know, I go back to, you know, categorizing all the JPEGs that's out there. We know where for sure you will have projects that's out there, and that's fine, where you will have to flip them, which is cool. That's the main game. That's the main thing. You know, you flip them, you make insane profits, and that's cool, you know, on the short-term basis. For other projects, of course, you want to hold, you know, long-term, and hey, that's cool because there's utility and that's super fun. And, you know, you're going to keep them for whatever reason, and then you're going to keep them, and that's fine. But if we categorize those NFTs, if we can say even those projects, you know, I believe the message could be even clearer in a way that you know what you hold. So we even have categories out there on Zeus, you know, on flips, I don't know, utility base, gaming, and whatnot. So right now it's a big melting pot, and I believe all the people are maybe mixed up a bit in there. I wanted to ask you at the same time, of course, we talked about FUD, we talked about selling out, you know, and of course, floor price. How do you feel like the market is in right now over the Hedera NFT market side of things? Of course, we know that crypto is in absolute shambles right now. But still, regardless of that, how do you see everything coming on? Right now, you know, we're closing the year. I believe we had an amazing summer. We're having a great autumn, you know, albeit, you know, of course, all the uncertainty and whatnot. How do you perceive the end of the year and Q1 coming on in all this sphere we're in right now?
I do think that the HBAR NFT space is in a really good place right now. We've had some really fantastic projects building. Especially recently, there's been so many great projects coming out. I can only imagine what another year would be like in the space, but right now there's been just an influx of people coming in from other chains, and I can just see so much more of that happening, which is only going to build the HBAR space so much. I think it's just the beginning. I could see Q1 of 2023 being really good for the HBAR space. It's a brand new year. People have a brand new outlook. And a lot of the current projects have some really great plans ahead. So I think it's going to be good.
Guys?
Yeah, no, I will pick in. So for me, like what we have seen now the last year in 2022, it was really amazing with the Hedera heat wave during summer. But if you just analyze that period, it was also only a few big whales who jumped in our community, in our space, and who already moved up the floor like that. So we haven't even witnessed any mass adoption or until now, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So something that what happened with Solana in 2021, that will for sure happen with Hedera. So, and when HBAR goes up in price, goes up in ranking, it will attract more people, more eyes even. So to me, it's even a super scenario that we have now a bear market in crypto, because HBAR's price is so low, people are accumulating, are not really interested now in buying NFTs or like to spend because, okay, it's a bear market, it's a bear sentiment. But when that all will change, and then we see some new flexion and coming into the space, yeah, I'm really bullish for next year, to be honest. And yeah, like I said, I think HBAR will have its own Solana run, like we all know what happens with that blockchain. So yeah, I'm really bullish on HBAR in general, and especially for the NFT community, because you have all those advantages over other blockchains like a super cheap mint price, fixed, all the advantages that we already know on Hedera and HBAR. Yeah, well, just a lot of people will get to know it and jump in Hedera. That's my take on 2023, and yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Honestly, I think we're reaching a point in crypto adoption broadly that technology is actually going to matter. And I think a lot of people who have done their due diligence, who are already in HBAR and the Hedera NFT ecosystem, generally understand the potential use cases, strength, and what have you of the network itself. It's just a matter of being patient and giving others the opportunity to figure it out, in my opinion. I think, that should bode well for NFTs. That should bode well for HBAR. I think we're well positioned generally, particularly as early adopters. We're certainly going to benefit from all of the knowledge that we've accumulated over the past year or so in the NFT space. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I think, it's going to take some time. Obviously, globally, we're not in the best place, but I think at some point the technology is going to matter. And I do think, obviously incredibly biased, but I do think that Hedera is incredibly well positioned to take advantage. I do think that we'll see some other chains kind of fizzle out, for lack of a better term or phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And Hedera will continue to take market share, honestly. So I am long short, cautiously optimistic, and certainly looking forward to 2023.
Same for me, and I always try to be, optimistic but realistic at the same time, right? That's the best way to proceed, in my opinion. What two, out of all the projects, that's out there, what's the two main points you would say to anybody coming around, Hedera, like that? The 2 points that you see inside a project that you say, okay, those are the 2 key elements for me that I would say, okay, that's a go for me, for a project, for a community, for a lead. And you see, bam, this is it. Like, I got it. I'm going in. I'm waiting for the mint price, and I'm going to be locked in for every single day to see what's up. What are the 2 points that you would eye out when a newcomer comes in?
For me, I would say the founders, number one. I want to know who they are, where they've been, what their history is, what their goals are for the project.
Yeah.
I think that's really important to know, who's backing this project, who's, what do they know? What do they have? Also the community is really important for me. Communities in Hbarbarians are like family, right? They're really tight knit. Everybody's friendly, everybody engages. It's just, I think that communities help the projects to grow. They can make a huge difference in a project's success. I would say that those are my two main points that I look at. I mean, the mint price for me, it doesn't really matter to me if I am bullish on a project. I don't care if it's 200 or 1,000. If I'm bullish, I'm going to mint. So
that's great. And knowing the leaders, right, the project leaders, I believe that's what you meant at the same time. Doesn't mean about doxing or whatnot. Just knowing the purpose. Yeah, the purpose, or what's the depth of what's their purpose, or how they're approaching things, and what's their mean and goals at the same time at the end of the journey, right? Yeah, I feel with that 100%. Jojo?
Yeah, for me it's like the most important thing is to me personally, it's community engagement. And I will just throw in one example, and that's Monkey from Creamies. I think we all know him, the guy. I just wonder when that guy sleeps, because every time I'm in the chat and say hi, he's always he's always answering. And so to me, that's for me, like, okay, that guy is putting so much time, so much effort into his project, that I will just say, okay, this is for me, just the main thing that I will just invest in, and I have confidence in that guy. I don't know if Creamies will succeed, or what they will, or will they be around in maybe like 2 years? I don't know, but I'm sure that the guy is, he's always responsive, and I like that from projects, and to me, if I jump in a Discord and I see no messages from the owner or the founder since 7 days, okay, then there needs to be a good reason why he don't answer for 7 days. Because to me, if you let people mint your project, it's the hardworking money from investors that you're taking. So at least you can do some efforts, and yeah, for me that's the most important thing. And then the second one is also, what is the project, and what is what's the main goal of the project, in terms of what you're gonna do with utility, or okay, you have, like Gremlin already said, like you have some art-based projects, and I love it just for the art, but then it's clear from the beginning, it's just art, and okay, if you like it, you buy it, but don't, it's like more like, don't overpromise and underdeliver. So that's for me a big red flag. So
smart, absolutely. I agree 100%. There's a level of trust, and in that exchange through the ones inside the community and the leads, right? I truly feel that at the same time, for sure.
Yeah, I think, for whatever my opinion's worth, as the last person to go here, I don't have much to add, but I do think availability of founders is certainly important, and community is certainly important, right? At the end of the day, if you're in this for the money, right, and there's no community, then there's no floor price equivalent. There's no support there. If the community is strong and they believe in the founders, they'll typically handle all of the the non-essential work, so to speak, right? All of the stuff that people perceive to be important, which is floor price and things like that. That's typically handled by the community, whether directly or indirectly. The founders are involved, not involved, it's almost irrelevant. So if you build a strong community and you have founders ultimately that are available and clearly building, then I think it's really what you're going to look for if you're new to the space.
Preach 100%. Thank you so much. That was truly amazing on our first edition of this special edition. We can even call it like the Christmas version of the podcast. Thank you so much for passing by.
Do we get to sing, or are we done? I mean, if it's a Christmas version, then we have to sing, right?
You go first. You go.
No, I can't sing. It's fine. Disregard.
You go first. I just want to close this. If you want to just go on and say, how can people like reach you on Twitter, or giving even your Twitter handle or whatever, you're not forced to, but so people can add you, follow you up. You all leading the space inside your very own way through Hedera. You've been there since the beginning, let's just say it. When people have questions or whatever, you all know that they're looking up to you. Of course, not only you, not only us, but you're amongst, the very people that people look up to and say, well, yeah, this is it, they mean business. So if you want to leave it, you can reach me at whatever or not. This is your time to shine.
So my Twitter is Lori, LORIXRP. And I have an Instagram, but it's mainly for my business. I don't do any NFT stuff on there. But it's Lori_nails if anybody wants to see.
It's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
my Twitter is also Belge Hbarbarians. Yeah, I think a lot of people already saw my name passing by on Twitter, I guess. I often also receive a lot of DMs from new people coming into HBAR, asking questions. So I'm always I'm always I will always try to do my best to help and to answer every question. So yeah, to all the people who want to know more about Hedera, the NFT space, from people who are already been there since day one. Yeah, you can always shoot me a DM. It's always open, and yeah, I'd love to help. So yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter at HBarGremlin. Pretty straightforward here. Yeah, and similar to everyone else, I'm happy to help. My DMs are generally closed, but if you follow me, I'll typically follow back. So, or you can ask publicly, and we can go about it that way, because that'll help hopefully more folks out.
Thank you so much for passing by. I appreciate every single one of you. I say this on the cam, off the cam, in DMs, in Discords, everywhere. It's been really great. I hope you have a great and amazing week. And thank you again.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate it, Phil.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Take care.
Appreciate you big time, Phil. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you so much, Belgian. Thank you so much, Hbarbarians, for passing by. Again, thank you all for coming up to the show today. And as a conclusion, to me, I think it's really important just to, again, I say it all the time, to invest in the lead. Not financial advice, but if you invest in the people behind the project and who's doing everything behind the curtains that you do not see builders truly build in silence, that's where true value is at, and you can never go wrong in this. And we're gonna have an amazing bull run, of course, next year. NFT side of things right now is a proper time to build your craft, build your thing, invest, due diligence, inform yourself. This is an endless world where you can be yourself and just enjoy the show, make friends, and have a blast. Stay safe, stay frosty. Take care. Thank you again.